If you look at the percentage of the public who would great trust in universities, it has decreased from 58% to 42% in 10 years. Universities will be trusted less than the US government. If students don't trust universities, they don't attend and revenue goes down. Hello, university staff. Making videos explaining research papers that go on a journal webpage can get 20% more citations than without a video, which boosts university rankings, turns 3,000 USD to 30,000 USD, and builds deep long-term trust in universities and research, all without spending money on new heavy compute and lab infrastructure every 3 years. Our university simulation tool, Transpose, predicts at full scale in Australia, 42,000 videos adds 40,000 international students, creating $2 billion for the universities and $2 billion for the government. It takes about 6 years to get that 10x return on every dollar spent. And you may think videos require 1 million views and tens of thousands of dollars to be successful, but it's only necessary that scientists watch them, not the whole world. To be honest, it's more about going from not making videos to making them. Like from writing sheet music to publishing music on Spotify. This is brand new research, only possible now. Based off a 2019 paper that showed the 20% citation improvement, we spent 3 years to make these simulations. A $3,000 video can get that 10x ROI from an improved rankings, student numbers, and research productivity. But then we found a phase transition. At $750 USD per video, funding shifts from research productivity to cultural productivity. That price point is in sight with AI and scaling the number of videos made per year. It also impacts the culture, economics, and options at all levels of the university. And we would love to develop these ideas further and collaborate with you as much as possible. So, to summarize our major arguments. Firstly, trust. If you look at the percentage of the public who would great trust in universities, it has decreased from 58% to 42% in 10 years. Admittedly, it has improved slightly in the last year, but if that upward trend doesn't hold, then universities will be trusted less than the US government in 10 years. If students don't trust universities, they don't attend and revenue goes down. But more importantly, there'll be stronger government pushback towards funding. Due to the decades of data, we looked at NASA's budget versus public trust. Here is the plot of desire to increase NASA's budget and the change in budget 2 years later. There's a clear correlation between these two variables. The tipping point is 13%. Less than this, and the public won't think it's necessary to spend money on NASA, and its budget is decreased. It's reasonable to think that this would apply to universities as well. To spoil our later analysis, trust increased when people saw research videos, and decreased when they saw independent attack posts about research made on social media. Videos help reach a wider audience as well, since 30% of the public is nervous about their maths and science skills. If you show them a video, they are 3 times more likely to want updates than just text alone. So, how does Transpose predict the economics? Research videos are going to be the standard in the near future. Will be funded in 2 distinct phases. The first phase is journal-driven and citation-driven. Creating videos increases citations by 20%. As Times Higher Education and Curious Rankings had 20% of the final score related to citations per faculty member, we can then model how many videos it takes to improve your ranking, as shown by this plot here. And university ranking is the bigger driver for international student attendance, more so than marketing. This plot is the marketing budget on the x-axis and university ranking on the y-axis. The colour is the number of international students. Clearly, university ranking is a strong driver to attendance based off this lower yellow bright spot. We have then modelled the demographics of international students, as seen by this pie chart, and the cost of degrees, as shown by this table. All of these are inputs into Transpose. It's actually a pretty complicated tool because it calculates investment down to the sub-department level. We model student numbers, revenue per department, and other factors to ensure that it's profitable for every subgroup involved. And that's how we get this $3,000 to $30,000 return calculation. Note, this return is maximized by spreading the videos over 6 years based off how QS and THE calculate historical ranking data. The 10x return is very dependent on each university. Student numbers, rankings, research type, all affected. We think a lower annual investment is about $300,000 a year into videos, and it scales linearly to $20 million per year per university. In Australia, it's about a 10 times return. At full scale, we expect 42,000 videos to add about 40,000 international students, creating $2 billion for the universities and $2 billion for the government. I think in America, it's about a 5 times return, but it requires more time building and understanding the American market. However, it may have decreased recently due to current opinions on immigration. The second economic phase is culture-driven. When costs are lower than, say, $750 USD, roughly a quarter of current prices, instead of extra citations being the main value, it's in helping maintain knowledge in departments, reducing PhD turnover, and improved public perception. Instead of a video per paper, you can make custom videos for different audiences, like the media or industry, students or parents, along with making videos about progress updates on research, videos about new equipment purchases, etc. But there's still a lot of analysis to do to understand how this impacts the university financially and culturally. And now, options. What is only possible because you make videos? Let's break it down over time. Short term, it improves research productivity by 20%. Long term, it shifts how the scientists and public think about research. Success will be detached from journal name and hybridized with social media acclaim. Now, over the org chart. Let's start at the top of the org chart with the Dean of Science and work our way down. At the Dean of Science level, it's an extremely scalable tool that positively influences culture, marketing, retention, and productivity. It's also deflationary over time and can be scaled almost indefinitely. Think of it as massively reinvesting back into researchers to improve communication skills and outgoingness. From the marketing team, it sets a strong message to the public that you'll try and engage with them and be transparent. It also helps work with industry and the media and students as much as possible. At the group and department level, this increases options for influencing culture across the department. It makes it easier for intergroup collaboration because research is easier to understand, adds more students to each department, and additionally gives an alternative avenue for intergroup competition, which can reduce overall team stress. At the supervisor level, personally, it helps friends and families understand their job, which lowers stress and improves job satisfaction. This is also useful as a status symbol at parties and gives a mild 10% H-index boost, which helps salaries and grants. Additionally, more students for the university to supervise. At the student level, it reduces upskilling time because scientists who have access to an abstract and a video retain twice as much compared to the abstract alone, which improves retention rates for PhDs. Implementation. There are 3 grand challenges in implementing this idea. 1. What is the best way to implement these videos across the university? 2. How to build the video industry to create 40,000 videos a year. 3. How do you measure the cultural impact of these videos? Now let's explore these ideas in scientifically rigorous detail. Trust. Let's break down into when social media increased trust and when it decreased trust. We're going to look at NASA data due to it going back decades. Trust increased from 1975 to 1980, and I think this was due to pictures from the Voyager's Grand Tour, which photographed planets as it flew by. Then in the 90s, the Hubble telescope started producing pictures of galaxies, which were shared on the internet, on forums, and created a whole community. And then we had Instagram and smartphone in 2008, where everyone was able to easily see space pictures on their phone. I personally loved seeing New Horizons Pluto flyby, where each photo got higher and higher resolution. It created a whole event at our uni. In 2019, we also had the moon landing 50th and Ariana Grande's song NASA. Ariana's song had such an incredible impact on public perception of NASA that it almost made studying any other effect that year impossible. And for the reasonable skeptic, here is the plot of NASA's average Instagram engagement against trust. Another clear linear correlation. It takes a long time to get this data, so that's why there's only 4 points. But let's look at when media killed trust. In the 70s, trust was low, from Watergate, Vietnam, and the last moon landing just occurring. So budget was fairly high. Government scandals appeared on the news, and NASA had the lowest trust on record. Then the Challenger disaster in '86 was the local minimum, and it took 2 years for trust to recover. Then the Hubble Space Telescope mirror issue took 4 years to recover, and I think it was slower than Challenger because of the internet public forums where people were creating posts rather than just passively watching TV. Now the post-2014 social media era. The lack of trust is explored in 2 books, End Times and The Revolt of Public. As independent attack content has gone more articulate, animated, and analytical, they have spread more effectively across the internet. People are watching videos and reading posts talking about issues with university, NASA, and government research. In particular, when there's risks and uncertainties with some research claims. So to summarize, when the public sees videos about your research successes, it builds trust. And when they see independent videos about issues, it kills trust. And this will put immense pressure on universities to be incredibly transparent about risks on uncertainty claims. Unfortunately, the new AI era is going to make trust worse. AI psychosis and automated analysis is going to massively increase the public's output, creating an ocean of university outrage content. Additionally, in a completely different direction, AI is going to create very personalized social media feeds, where posts are created on the fly for you and only you. Branding will be almost impossible, and it will be very difficult to reach new audiences. If we remember back to the change in trust in NASA versus the change in budget plot from earlier, this will decrease government support of universities. Now, let's talk about implementation in detail. Transpose's goal is to maximize the research funding by helping bring international students into the country. We're going to base it off earlier plots of videos against university ranking, marketing budget against university ranking against international students, the distribution of international student degrees, and the cost per degree, and international policies. We'd use Transpose to work with the Dean of Science to help determine how many videos should be created each year and on what departments. The most economic answer may be to focus on medicine or engineering research. However, to embrace the entire university properly, we recommend scaling it by the citation distribution. Say medicine is responsible for 40% of the citations per faculty member, then they are allocated 40% of videos. So, say we decide on 300 videos across the university, predict 300 students and a 1 rank improvement. We then distribute these videos to each sub-department based off our own expert's choice algorithm. Essentially, we interview group leads in October to December each year, while we discuss research projects that they think will be the most influential. If we assume a 20% error rate on the analysis, along with Scopus data to distribute these videos across each department. About 80% of the videos should be for the journal paper page, and 20% should be for social media. And we'd love our animators to do the social media videos. Then, we measure the student numbers and ranks for calibration across the university and put it back into Transpose. Culture. Imagine the physics supervisor. Your wife is non-technical, your kids don't understand what you do, your parents, your mother-in-law, your wife's friends don't understand your job either. It can be hard to feel respected at home, especially if your brother-in-law has an easier to understand job. While this may not be as important for affluent families, it is more significant for people who come from poorer backgrounds. In fact, going from poorer backgrounds through the system is harder because they need to reject well-meaning comments from friends and family members for much longer. So these videos will help de-stress the early career journey by helping parents understand what a researcher's job is. Also, having these videos on the university main page will be a proud moment for the family. And when shared privately on Facebook and Instagram, it's amazing indirect advertising for the university. It can also help when applying for industry jobs because it makes honours and masters and PhDs easier to explain. From a competitive group and supervisor level, it introduces another lever to fight social status over. Instead of just number of students, journal names and citations, it's a new orthogonal social media page ranking. This is especially useful when growing the number of employees in a field where more and more people fight over the same metrics. Adding a new metric is a great pressure release valve. And it should allow field size to grow larger and scale the university slightly more. But for this change to be effective, it needs to be led from each stage of the organisation. We recommend 4 videos per year about the Dean of Science's goals. Then 4 videos per year from each of the main group leads under the Dean of Science. Then 300 videos across the sub-department. This shows that the university is serious about change. It gives permission for a bottom-up push from the PhDs and supervisors. How do you work with us? Grande Research's core goal is to 1. Help fund research, 2. Help the public and industry use existing research. We aim to expand this work in 3 stages. First, collaborating with universities to create these simulations, where we'll interview stakeholders at each stage from the Dean of Science to the student to understand how to craft these messages and build deep relationships. The main first mover advantage is that it helps define a culture. It also attracts more pro-social researchers to your university early, who already have those deep global connections with the media. Which also means it'll be slower for other universities to change their cultures, and they'll not get the early university ranking improvement before the industry renormalizes around videos. Our goal is to lead the next generation of science communication, which will require an insane levels of emotional resiliency and technical competency. The first 6 months will we'll be aiming to learn everything about how your university operates. We would spend 1 month following around the marketing department, where we want to understand the work they've done before, the culture they have with researchers, what procedures do they have in place. Then spend 1 month with each of the major research departments. We want to learn how researchers work, how they talk about research, and how they think about research. What's the culture like in each department? Have they had experiences with the media before? What's their internal policies? We expect this to take 8 months or so, but it's vital so we don't come across as trying to force our methods on your staff. During this time, we'll also be creating simulations about video investments for that October to December period. The second stage of growth for our company would be to build internal capabilities to create these research videos. There'll be a lead time with animators to create our own science animations, but this has already been baked in to that earlier cost analysis. We are expecting about a year to hire the animators and build that capability. Small at the start, but grow much larger. In this trial stage, we aim to develop 4 sub-teams for our company. 1, designing Transpose. 2, the research interview team. 3, animators. And 4, support functions. Third stage, we aim to massively increase production capability to help drive this $750 video price point. By helping us engage with other universities as well, it helps distribute these video costs across everyone, cutting costs faster. And we aim to work with every university in the world. To use Transpose to accelerate science, fund research, and build global trust and transparency, simply email me at Daniel.Field@granderesearch.com, and we can have a Teams or an in-person meeting to discuss your needs. Thank you, Dan.